So this is a 2024 Renegade Veracruz. This is on the Ford F550 chassis. The rig is a 4x4. We're going to do a orientation. We're going to start on the outside. We'll go around it. Starting here, this compartment. This has your batteries. That's an AGM battery. I believe that's an 8D. That's the house battery. As I said, it's an AGM, so no maintenance. Then this right here is your inverter. That's the inverter for the that charges your batteries, as well as provides 110 power inside the coach. Then in here we have our short cord, which is mounted on a reel. It's a manual pull-out short cord, and that button right there, that is to retract the cord. Now up here is your automatic transfer switch. That is what transfers electricity between the shore power and your generator power. It does so automatically for you. It does have a built-in surge guard. Doesn't mean you don't need one at the pedestal at the campsite. You still want to get one, because this onboard one, like most surge protectors, will get damaged if it protects your coach from a surge. So this one is very expensive versus one that you might be able to put on the pedestal. So the one you put on the pedestal will protect this one, which, you know, spending $150 for one that you put on the pedestal to protect this, you know, $500 surge protector will be a lot cheaper. Plus you still got to pay for installation, right? So here we have our wet bay. Now here in our wet bay we have water filter, and that's where your dump bells are. See those two? Cable in. That black thing right there, that is to connect a water hose to flush your black tank. City water connection is down here. Then you have a gauge right there where you can check the status of your tanks, your black, gray, and your fresh, as well as the battery, current charge on the battery. When you dump your tanks, this is where you connect your hose. See that? Those terminate right there at that connection. That's where you attach your sewer hose. Now those dump handles we just saw in that previous compartment go to these dump bells right here, these cable operated dump bells. This is a storage container for your hose. I believe there is one in there. Basic hose. Basic hose, no frills, but it does fit in that container, which is nice. Got a little bit of storage up here above these tanks. Back here we have our hitch. There's the exhaust for the generator. Backup camera. And that is our generator. Now that is a 8,000 watt Onan quiet diesel generator. Has a start stop switch right there. Hour meter. Very important. We got a breaker right there. See that? So if ever you have a generator running but you have no 110 power inside, check that breaker, as well as the breakers inside. Now this coach does have propane. That is where it is filled. That red switch, that's to shut off the flow of propane. Since it doesn't have a manual valve like, you know, many do, this is a quick connect right there where you can connect a hose, quick connect hose to maybe for a barbecue grill, or other propane accessory. Storage. This is the outside of your Truma AquaGo tankless water heater. Not a whole lot to see here. You just mainly want to look in here every now and then, make sure it's not full of bugs, spider webs, stuff like that might cause it not to work. It's got an on-off switch here. That typically is left in the on position, unless it's, you know, going to be in deep storage. And then we have a larger storage bay. There is an outlet right there. And then there's a little cover you can remove to run cords. That way you can still have your compartment door closed and locked, and still have cords running out running out from that outlet. Those are your slide locks. Those are to lock the slide in the closed position. Those are primarily used if you have if there's an issue, you've had some kind of problem with the slide and are concerned about it, working its way out. Normally you're not going to be using those. This is the outside of your furnace. This here is our outside TV. Now this TV is mounted fixed. It doesn't remove or pull out. It does have a sound bar, remote for the sound bar and the TV. Then that brings us to this entry. You see we have a latch lock here plus a deadbolt. And it has a separate screen door. Now coming into the coach, we have, that's our battery disconnect. So that must be on anytime you expect the batteries. You want the house battery to be charging, the camper battery, right? Of course, anytime you're using the coach, you want that on. If you store the coach plugged in, make sure you leave that on, because if this is turned off in this disconnect position, you might as well not have it plugged in, because the electricity from the charging system cannot reach the big battery I showed you on the other side. So it does have an entry step override. Right now it's in the override position, so the step is not going to be opening and closing with the opening and closing of the entry door. Right there is in that position, it'll keep the step out whenever you open and close the door. Then we have the e-start button. That is to link your house batteries, your camper batteries, with your coach battery, the engine battery. In case the one or the other is dead, you can link them together to rob a little bit of electricity from the other battery bank that still has electricity for emergencies, right? And then of course our jacks. Jacks are currently deployed. We're auto leveled. Now when I auto leveled it, all I did is I turned it on, right? Then I hit auto level. That's all you do. It'll do it'll level. It may take about maybe a couple minutes to finish leveling. Once it's done, these 4 lights will show red, indicating that the legs are down. If those 4 lights are lit, that means the legs are down, or at least partially, not all the way, and the coach should not be moved. Now when you're going to retract the legs, all you do is turn it on and hit all retract. It's important to note when you're using the system, the coach has to be off, the engine has to be off, and the parking brake has to be set. If those 2 conditions are not met, this will not work. If this thing says low voltage, again, this is not going to work. If it says ignition on, it's letting you know ignition is on. Turn it off so it can work. If it says engage parking brake, that means it thinks the parking brake is not set. If it says excess slope, that does not mean you have to manually level it using the buttons here. That means The system has detected you're on too much of a slope. The legs should not be used. There's too much of an angle and you can cause a dangerous condition that could damage the legs. So it says excess load, move the coach to a different location. Coming in further in here, we have one of several switches that we got in here. These are battery powered. See that? It's got a little battery, CR2032 battery. So these are wireless. From time to time you'll have to replace those batteries, and the panel that we're going to see here in a little bit will let you know when it's time to change those batteries. Then we have a television here over the entry. Everybody can view it from there. It's got a strap there. You can pull that strap. It'll release the TV to allow it to extend out and pivot. Up here in the bunk area, we have our ladder that hooks right here on these two mounts. Another wireless touch control panel, and this will allow you to open and close this shade. Also has lighting controls for in here, and also master light switch. And you can see in those little cubbies, there's outlets as well as USB and USB-C ports right there for your tablets, cell phones, whatever. There's another one over here on this side. There is a privacy curtain. See that? It's on a track. So this whole area here can be closed off for privacy for whoever's sleeping up in this area. This area also has its own AC ducts right there. It's got two. And this here, this is a shade. It snaps on to here. Not a shade, or a partition. So you can partition to close this off. So maybe if you're just traveling, if it's just you up there in the front, or you're a couple up here, if you don't want to have to air condition this whole back area and not run your generator, you can certainly do so, and the dash air will be enough to cool that area right there with this partition closed here. You got storage, like a little coat closet, another outlet there. You'll note it's got USB-C and USB ports on it. More storage. Single basin sink. The cooktop here is a induction stove. So make sure to use this. You need to have induction approved cookware, otherwise nothing will happen, right? This is a convection microwave. So it is capable of doing some actual baking as well as making popcorn. Now up here, we have our all our books and manuals by Renegade. Everything's in a nice, neat little binder. It's got everything neatly organized in there for all your systems on the coach. You got touch-up paint. You got some lube for your seals. More storage up above. Here you got a place for a wastebasket. In there is the manual control panel for the Truma water heater. That is primarily controlled up here. We're going to see that here in a second. We'll go over the how to use this touch control system, but yes, that's where you normally operate the water heater. That is the manual control as a backup in case that this is not working for whatever reason. This is more storage. So remotes for your TVs for that one, as well as that main one there with the sound bar. You have storage. You have an exhaust fan up here, and you have your dinette here. This does make into a bed. There is a lever. I don't know if you can see it right here. Flip the lever to the left, and that releases the table to be pushed down. Push it all the way down. Then these cushions lay on top and fill in the gap here, and you have a full bed. Otherwise, you lift it and then flip this lever to the right, and that locks it back. You have drawers here. These drawers pull out right here and right here for storage. More storage there. over the dinette area. You have another switch, a little wireless switch. That one also has a battery in it that controls the lights in this area. More storage over here. Refrigerator. We'll go over that here in a bit. This is a couch, so you can relax here and watch TV. However, in addition to being a couch, one of the things that makes this coach so great, so this area is also your bedroom. So basically the way this works, you remove the pillow, right? And these armrests pull out. See? They pull out. Pull out the armrest like that, and basically you're gonna, this jackknives. Did I say that right? This jackknives. So we're gonna jackknife it flat. Now, you could use this as a bed just like that. However, if you need the full bed, you know, space, well, turn these knobs here. And then this is a Murphy bed. So now we can lower this bed, or maybe we can't, I don't know. So we can lower this bed like so. And now we have a full bed. King size bed. Ain't that cool? Also have storage. His and her little map lights or reading lights. Another wireless switch. You can start and stop your generator from this switch. More outlets, USB-C and regular USB. Down there, down below, you can barely see it, that black thing down there. That is carbon monoxide / propane leak detector. You can see there's another outlet with charging ports there. Now under here, there's more storage under this TV. These 2 boxes, 3 boxes. So these are 110 breakers. You got 2 sets of them right there. They're all labeled. And then these are 12-volt fuses. Now there is a little door back here, but this is not for storage. This houses a lot of the electronics. This stuff is storage. TV. Now behind this TV, that's great. We got some storage under here. Look at that. Outlet. Now this gets you to the back of the TV, as well as your HDMI splitter box is in here. So you could connect like a Roku or Fire Stick or Apple TV right here to feed it to other stuff. These are the connections if you want to hook up a satellite system. Now in there, there's a button for your TV antenna. That's the green one, the slit. There's another button. See the second one? That's to turn on the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi from the WineGuard antenna. It's integrated into the TV antenna. That's a subscription. Boy, I'm having a hard time talking today. So the Wi-Fi system is a WineGuard subscription service. That's all documented in the manual that I showed you there in the binder. You can subscribe to that service using the information that's in there. Your shower door, very important, it's glass. Make sure when you travel, you lock it. If it's not locked, it's gonna break. See that? Right there, it's locked. Matter of fact, we have a coach right now in our service department waiting on a replacement shower door because they didn't lock that. and it broke. So foot flush toilet. Make sure you never use a toilet without at least a couple gallons of water in there, so stuff doesn't stick on the inside of the tank. Make sure you use chemical treatment, whether you use the little tablets, the powders, the liquids, or my personal favorite, the Porta Packs. They look like little Tide Pods. You just throw one in there. You don't throw one in there every time you use a toilet. Just throw one in there for each cycle of you know, after you dump your tanks, throw in another pouch in there, and you're good to go. And a couple gallons of water, and you're ready. Sink, little medicine cabinet. Another wireless panel here. It's got controls for this fan. It's overhead. In here, got a nice roomy closet. There's a little cover here. This will get you to some access to the water pipes. There's the water pump down there. Probably hard to see. GoPros are not known for their low light capabilities, but that's your water tank. Very loud. So, then we have a partition. See this little hook? Open and close this door. It's got magnets that hold it shut. So as you can see, super nice rig. Now the front cab area, of course, this is Ford. So if you know how to operate a Ford pickup truck, you know how to operate this rig. It has a backup camera. That's that thing that looks like a rear view mirror. That's your observation camera. So what people would call a backup camera, although it's not really a backup camera, it's an observation camera because it's always on. When the vehicle's running, you're always looking out the back or looking to the left or looking to the right when you're operating your turn signals. There's a little remote there underneath the center console. The remote is to operate that screen up there. The manuals for the Ford truck part are in the glove box, as you would expect. Cup holders, you got 2 sets of keys with this rig. This right here, you can step on this. This is designed to be stepped on. It can support the weight. So if you're trying to get in there from the bunk area or the house area, you can certainly do so to access the cab. Now this bunk area, as you can see there, it will support up to 400 pounds of weight. So I'm just under that, right? All right, so covered most of the stuff in here. Let's talk a little bit about this refrigerator. So this refrigerator, this is not your traditional RV refrigerator that operates on propane or 110. This operates just on 12 volts. So just on 12 volts. So the way this works, that's your power button. Long press it to turn it on, long press it to turn it off. You got top section and a bottom section. So as I said, long press on, long press off. Now you can control the freezer section and refrigerator section independently. So we're gonna press, like we wanna control the freezer. Press this right here. Move that blue light that you see here, you're gonna move it over here by pressing it again. Blue light there. Now we're controlling the freezer section. The default value for that is 5. 5 is the coldest. We can adjust it down. So it goes from 1 to 5. 5 is the coldest. So that's the typical default value for the freezer. And then we want to control the refrigerator. So move the blue light over here to from here to here. So press it again. Now we're controlling the refrigerator. The default value for the refrigerator is 3. But you can set it at whatever you want. However, if you put any lower than 3, you're likely going to freeze your soda or whatever's in the refrigerator section. Then you have sleep mode. That's what this button is. When the blue light is on, like that on the moon, sleep mode is on. When the blue light is off, sleep mode is off. Sleep mode is going to basically run this refrigerator, the compressor, and there's a cooling fan back here behind this control panel. It's going to operate that stuff at a reduced speed, thereby saving you electricity, 12 volt electricity, and also it's quieter. I mean, really, it's running right now and it's super quiet. You can't really hear anything. So the main thing, the main benefit that I would see for that is that it's saving electricity. However, that only comes into play if you're going to be doing a lot of off-the-grid kind of camping with this. If you're using this refrigerator, or if you're using this RV in the way the average RV user does, you're not. That's not. I mean, honestly, like, don't use sleep mode. I don't know anybody that uses sleep mode. Most people that experiment with it forget they left it on and end up, you know, their butter ends up melting and stuff. Now, sleep mode will disengage itself after 8 hours of continuously being left on. However, that's long enough for stuff to start to melt, because obviously if this is running at a reduced rate, like the compressor and whatnot, stuff will, you know, it's not going to get as cold, so stuff could potentially melt. So just beware. So the way you typically use this is if you are, you know, if you are using sleep mode, you're going to basically not open, like, get it cold and all your stuff cold, and don't use the refrigerator. Don't open the doors to conserve all the cold in there and stuff. And again, this would be if you're off the grid camping. Otherwise, don't even fool with that stuff. What do we got here? So more storage and some neat pull-out drawers. Oh Lord. Neat stuff, huh? All right, so then you got some shades. You also have a shade here on this door. See that behind this screen? Now we're going to talk about this Firefly touch control panel. So here, the way this is set up, we have these icons on the left side. Each one of these represents a different page on the screen. So, home screen, that's our home screen. Here we have a light master where we can turn off the lights all at once. We can control the set point for the AC. We have, we can see the tanks, fresh, gray, black, and our propane. See what the status is on those. We have a tank heater. Red is turned on. The tank heater is basically an electric blanket that's glued to the underside of the holding tanks to keep them from freezing should you be in freezing temperatures. Then we have water pump. Water pump is basically, that turns on your on-demand water pump. That's if you're not connected to city water. If you're on city water, then there's no need to activate the water pump. Otherwise, you need the water pump if you're going to be using any of the water fixtures. Then we can see our house and chassis batteries, see what the status is on those. We can start and stop our generator from here, as well as see the hours on the generator. This one, you can see it says 17.5. And we can turn on our AGS right here. It's currently disabled. You can turn it on from right there. Now the AGS, of course, will start your generator automatically should it be enabled and you're connected to shore power at a campground and with the air conditioning on and the campground loses power. Well, with the AGS enabled, it'll automatically kick on the generator as soon as it loses power to restore the air conditioning. Next icon, we have lighting. Again, turn off all the lights, turn them back on. Now this only turns on and off the interior lights. The exterior lights, like the porch, the awning, and the cargo, have to be turned on manually. On and off manually. See that? The cargo light, it's got lights in all the cargo compartments on the outside that we looked at initially, and those are controlled from this switch here, and also by the entry door here just inside the door. Electrical page here, we can view things like our power source here. It says they're 50 amp shore. If we were running off the generator, then it would say generator here, but right here is showing us our 50 amps, which is made up of 2 legs. Now, important to note this, 50 amps is not 220. 50 amps is made up of 2 legs of 110 coming in to the bus. So you got line 1 and line 2. So you know, like I said, do not feed 220 into this bus, you'll blow it up. Well, not literally blow it up, but you'll damage the electrical stuff, at least the 110 side. So you can see the 110 coming in here, goes into the transfer switch, then it goes to our breaker box, then it goes to our inverter charging system, then it goes to our batteries, at least our house battery, right? Make sense? Start and stop the generator. Once again, turn on the AGS from there. And you can turn off the inverter if you wanted to from here. You can turn off the charging system if you wanted to from there. Right now, they always default to being on. You can see that the inverter is in pass-through mode, which is like standby mode, because it detects that we have, you know, shore power coming in, so it doesn't need to do anything. Then we have charging. The charging is in float mode. Float mode is another way of saying trickle charge. So it's the batteries are fully charged. So it's just basically trickle charging to maintain the level of charge that's in the batteries right now. Now for these, I mainly tell people, look at the color. So green means that the battery banks are happy. Green is good. So if this was shown in yellow, that would indicate that the batteries were low. If it was in red, that means you're really low and this thing's about to not even be able to power on. But usually you want them in the green. Normally they're going to stay in the green if everything's operating as it should. You know, the voltages will fluctuate there, as well as you'll see this float change to absorption sometimes, which is an intermediate charge rate. And sometimes it'll say bulk. Bulk is if it's in highest charge rate because the batteries were really low. But it'll do that automatically. As long as it's plugged in, it's going to maintain your batteries. So next we have our air conditioning. So here, right now we have it on cool. We can adjust the set point. Here we have it has a heat pump. So this AC unit that's up on the roof is also a heat pump, so it can give you heat through the shore power, as long as the temperature is not below 40. That only works down to about 40 degrees. After that, no more heat from the heat pump. Then you're forced to use the furnace, right? You can set your fan speed. Preferably you want to leave it in auto, but you can manually set it to low or high. You also have these front and rear bath fans that I showed you. They have controls there on the panels. However, you can control them also from this Firefly touch control system by, see that? Now that black knob that you see turning, that's a manual control. So in case that this thing wasn't working and you needed to close it or open it, you could do so by turning that knob. And we can turn on our fan. Turning that on. There we got it turning. And turn it off. And that'll close this lid for us. And those red lights will continue blinking until the lids are closed and the fan has stopped moving. So you'll see that turn on here in a second. Now the other thing we have here is that this is the control for the water heater that I talked about. So I mentioned we have the manual control for it here, down here in the bottom. This is how you normally are going to operate it. So we touch that right there, and that's the control panel. Currently it's on in comfort mode. Comfort mode is the standard heat mode. So you're going to select the mode that you want and then hit save, and it's on. Like right there, it's on. If you wanted to hit eco, so you touch eco, then save. And eco is just going to give you warm water. It's not anything you're really going to want to use for any kind of real hot water. If you want to turn it off, you're going to touch off and then save. It'll turn off the system. Make sure you understand this water heater operates on propane. So if you don't have any propane, or the propane valve on the outside that I showed you earlier is turned off, then this thing's not going to work. It's going to give you a fault on the screen. So you can adjust the maximum temperature by using the plus and minus here. Right now it's set to the factory default of 120 Fahrenheit, so which is the maximum temperature. So that is your water heater. Here you can, on this little snowflake looking thing, you can control the shade that I showed you earlier. So there's multiple ways to control that, as we see. And then we have this second from the last, that's things that move page. So we have our awning control here, we have our front slide control here, and then we have our leveling, so we can look at we can control our jacks from this page. Now you can see the screen is pretty much identical representation of what this control panel that I showed you when we came in, right? I mean, it looks identical to that. So you can operate it from down there, or you can operate it from here. Pretty much looks identical. The red dots here basically are indicating that our jacks are down. Again, if you see it saying operating, don't press anything, wait till it finishes doing whatever operation it's doing, whether it's leveling or retracting the jacks. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but whenever the jacks are operating, when you hit the auto level, stay still. You cannot be moving about the cabin while it's auto leveling, otherwise this thing's going to throw a fault and stop working. So you must remain still while it's operating. If it says low voltage, charge your batteries, right? If it says excess slope, do not manually level. That means you could potentially damage your jacks if you still manually level it. I see people do it all the time at campgrounds. It is not good. You know, expensive damage can happen to the jacks, and damage that's oftentimes not even visible. They can bend ever so slightly, and you don't realize it, but you start having issues where they're not retracting properly, or they're not extending properly, or you're having faults in the system, and people have no idea that they, you know, damaged them by manually leveling the coach because they were in an excessive slope condition. So if it says excess slope, don't use them. All right, last page, that's our settings page. So our settings page is basically well, settings, right? Adjust your brightness here, or you can set it to auto dim. Cleaning mode is going to clean. No, it's not going to clean your screen. Cleaning mode is going to turn off your screen for about 15 seconds to allow you to wipe the kids' greasy fingerprints all over the touch control panel. You can set your time here. You can change the temperature to Celsius if you wanted to see it in Celsius. Floor plan is set at the factory, nothing to do there. Switch panel info. So we talked about these switch panels like those, like that little one right there, like these here by the entry, up here in the bunk area. So those are our switch panels. So by touching this here, that'll take us, that shows us our switch panels. That shows us the status. Now the green right here, those little things that look like little AAA batteries, that's showing us that all our batteries and our panels are strong, they're green, they're fully charged. And then this little green looking thing indicates the strength of the signal, the wireless signal. That's gonna fluctuate. Sometimes it'll be green like most of them are now, sometimes it'll go yellow, sometimes it'll go red. That depends on, you know, obstruction. Sometimes somebody can be standing in front of one of the switch panels and it's interfering with the signal, and it'll look yellow or red. Usually they still work. It means the signal is not as strong. Like right now, the bedroom one is indicating that the signal is not as strong. But you know, we can see that it still works. I'm gonna touch the. You see, all the lights still turn off and on. So the main thing that we're looking at is the batteries. So this shows you where each one of these switches is on the coach in this little map. If one of these batteries starts to go low, it's gonna show a little flashing triangle up here. Touch the triangle and it'll take you to that page and show you which one of these is low. The other thing is we have here is our network diagnostics. Network diagnostics page. I'm having trouble speaking today, sorry. So network diagnostics page is mainly for service department to do some diagnostic work. You're typically not gonna mess with this stuff here. The most interesting thing here, however, is our mobile app. So you can scan this QR code and that'll take you to where you can download this Vega Touch Mirror app on Google Play or the Apple Store, the App Store on Apple. You can search for it also by name and download the app. Once you download the app, it's gonna, you know, scan. You're gonna hit scan for devices, and then you'll find this ID. Make sure you only log into this. If you're at a campground, you're going to see several different ones that have the same system. You want to log into the one that has this number, this ID number. Then it's going to ask you for a PIN number. You're going to enter the PIN number that's associated with your coach. And then you can set it, you can change the PIN number to something unique. Once that's done, it might have to do a firmware update. Once that's done, all of this will now be on your phone, where you can, everything that you controlled here, you'll now be able to do on your phone, which is really cool, right? And with that, that's going to bring us to the end of this video. My name is Frank with the RV Shop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. If you did, please consider giving it a like and maybe subscribing to this YouTube channel if you enjoy this kind of content. Have a fantastic day.